If you can't seem to shake those nagging headaches, muscle aches, joint pain, lethargic kind of reactions, and not feeling so zesty and amazing, then potentially the overload of toxicity could be overburdening and sabotaging your health and vitality. Over the years that I've been working as a detox and wellness coach, and when people come to see me and they have like their symptoms that they try and explain to me, most of the time it's coming from a digestive disorder, problems having, problems thinking or clarity. And there's also the other thing that is really burdening a lot of people is the anxiety and not an ability to just grasp a calmness in day-to-day stuff. And so sometimes a lot of people say, oh, well, you need to meditate, you need to relax, but it actually is involved in an overloaded, burdened condition of toxicity in the body. The top 5 symptoms or signs of toxicity in the body that you can look into yourself and see yourself. But the top 5, there's definitely more. But I would say number 1 is body odor. And that is something that we can really start to feel ourselves. We know ourselves when we feel sticky and we're exhilarating our body temperature, and all of a sudden the body odor starts to smell. So that's one bigger sign. Number 2, something that's happening more and more often is basically insomnia, waking up at 2 or 3 or 4 o'clock and not being able to get back to sleep. Number 3 is skin eruptions, skin conditions. Like it could be just, I'm not talking about like a little pimple here or there, but sort of breakouts to psoriasis and eczema. The overall lackluster of skin is a great indicator for us to keep an eye out for. Then another big one is water retention. And so there's like a body, it's, some people call it inflammation, but it's definitely more this sort of water retention and feeling of bloatedness in the joints, in the legs, around the knees, around the ankles. So that's a really, really great sign that we can, look out for. And number 5 is things connected with our hair, nails, like brittle nails, nails that crack, and hair that's really thin and flimsy or falling out. So they're pretty much, we're just looking at our body to give us those signs. To a certain degree, different things will happen at different ages. So young people can experience a lot of skin disruptions, right? It's like acne or, back acne, and then or the skin conditions can change into something more serious, which could be like a psoriasis or an eczema that has flare-ups. But definitely the older we are, the longer we have time to accumulate these toxins. And so therefore it's through accumulation that we gradually, slowly microdosing over years, decades, without having any way of detoxifying it, the accumulations then result in these symptoms. The other signs that people need to detox could be things that we wouldn't even, it's not visual, but it's more an emotional. So how are the relationships going? Are we cranky? Are we moody? Are we complaining all the time? Are we finding ourselves more in that sort of negative space? So we might not even think that would be, because of toxicity, but yes. So our natural state of being is to be happy, healthy, positive. We should be bouncing, maybe not necessarily bouncing out of bed. There's a lot of other things, factors, but we shouldn't be feeling like everything is a hard mission in life. And that all is part of the bigger, toxic conversation. I think depression and anxiety are 2 cofactors of toxicity in the body. Depression and anxiety are both, we think that mental state of being is just a a mind thing, but our mind, actually, there's synapses and it's all chemistry actually inside. So this cell needs to speak to this cell, and if there's heavy metals and toxicity and cancerous substances and glyphosates in between this cell communicating with this cell, then the synapses are going to go haywire. And serotonin and our gut is also connected. So our gut is actually, our head is on top of our gut. So if we've got digestive issues, that's why they say that our brain is probably the second brain, our gut is the first brain. And so it's very much interrelated. Some of the biggest toxin exposures in our modern life are from personal hygienic products, deodorants, toothpastes, shampoos, fragrances. Fragrances are some of the worst things that we could be like spraying in our body because of the nanoparticles that these chemicals are now made from. They penetrate the body within 20 minutes, they're in our bloodstream and they're heading straight to the liver the body's got to do something with it. And what does it do with it? It doesn't know what it is. It stores it in fat cells. The creams that we, put on our skin thinking they're moisturizing us are laden full of chemistry that's actually are all toxins. Like a toxin is a chemical. It's something that's not natural. And so most of the time we're inundating ourselves from lipsticks to mascaras for women, all these beauty products are some of the most dangerous products actually around. And there's a great saying, if you wouldn't eat it, don't put it on your skin. So if you wouldn't eat your lipstick, don't put it on your lips, because you'll end up eating it anyway. Your body absorbs it within a very short period of time, especially if it's fat soluble. It will absorb it and will go straight into the bloodstream. And then it stays there until we detox, until we find a way to remove it. So the word detoxification is removal of the toxins that are inside and giving them a pathway to exit. Things like laundry detergents, and because we think, oh, well, I'm just washing this and then it will get cleaned. They actually all stick. Those particles, those chemicals, those fragrances all stick to the laundry. Then we wear it, we sleep on it. Some of the other things that are really toxic are these new, what they call microplastic clothing. So a lot of the leggings for yoga and stuff like that are actually these tiny particles that are constantly coming off. And our body, just while we're sweating, absorbs it straight in. And where does it go? It has to go somewhere. It gets stored and lodged in fat cells. It can go into our brain, into our cerebral spine. It goes into the liver, into soft organs. And that's where it stays until we find a way to detox it out. I recommend people detox yearly, every year, once a year at least, twice a year preferably. Depending if there's conditions or ailments that need to be addressed, it could be even more frequently. A 7-day detox is ideal, 10 days is ideal. I personally, 3 days I think is a great little taste test, but it doesn't quite go deep enough to do the real healing and the reversing of condition. In the world of rejuvenative detoxification, everything is reversible. We just need to keep chipping away at it. The more we detox, the more it affects us, how we end up shifting our lifestyles into more positive, conscious ways of being. So the idea of detoxification is to get a reset. So we're resetting, we're removing all that's in the way, and then how are we going to move forward? And we've got a clean foundation, and how we're going to feed and make that base foundation moving forward, hopefully with better practices and better nutritional, intake, and, just being healthier. And every time we do a detox, it just gives us that extra boost of upgrading, up leveling. And because health isn't a destination, you don't just kind of like arrive at health. It's something that's a practice. We have to work at, and we have to, it's like going to the gym. You have to have more positive practices than the negative practices, and the positive things will start to outweigh the negative things the more we do it. It's pretty amazing what can happen in 7 days on a 7-day detox, because at the speed at which a lot of these symptoms start to reduce is very, very fast. Within 3-4 days, we start to just dramatically feel an increase. It's almost like our cells comes back online. If we've been offline, we start to be more embodied in our space, in our house, in our body. And so the water retention disappears, the inflammation that we might not even think we have, the mood starts to increase, the positive energy, and the symptoms start to just almost reverse in front of our eyes. I've been running the 7-day detox retreat at the Yoga Barn since 2018, and we've seen a lot of people come through. I try and keep the numbers low. 12 is our maximum, so we're not doing big groups, so that we can have everybody's personal issues addressed and everyone can feel at home. It's an amazing program, and each year it's just been fine-tuned and getting better and better and better. Best thing, or the biggest thing that people experience after a detox, is elimination of symptoms. But actually, the biggest thing is the excitement and energy and enthusiasm for life. That's what I see across the board. So yes, symptoms disappear. Chronic headaches disappear, or anybody's issue starts to be reduced, but the enthusiasm after, and all leading towards the end of a detox, people want to go home, take out all the rubbish from their pantries, and go into the markets and start filling up, the fridge with good things and get on a better routine. And that's really, really inspiring. So there's a positive shift for the future. The best thing about doing a retreat is the accountability that we have with one another, and we can hold that space, and it's sort of the collective, or it's doing things in togetherness always gives better results. Somehow the momentum, the seeing other people's wins gives us that extra boost. So that's the beautiful thing about doing it together. It's difficult to do it on our own, especially if we're not practiced and not versed, but hopefully we come together, we do a couple of retreats together, and then we start to learn, and we realize, oh, maybe I can do it home 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. And then we start to take what we've learned and then put it into practice at home. It's far easier that way. I've had way too many people go, oh, well, I start a detox on Monday and I'm finished by Wednesday because I've caved in, because we're just there on our own. When we're together, we haven't lost anyone yet. So and then by the end of the week, you don't want to stop. You just want to keep going because you feel so good. Thank you for joining me for this quick overview of the 5 signs of you need to detox. I hope you haven't recognized any of those conditions inside of you, but if you have, there are ways to overcome this. I run retreats almost monthly or every month or so, and it'd be amazing to see you and have you come along. I'm also going through a mountain of content that I've accumulated over the years, and I'll be sending out emails, so keep an eye for that. And also, if you have any topics or points of interest that you want to address, get in touch with me. I'd love to discuss or open up different fields of conversations. Email is good for me, and also Instagram. You can keep in touch. And yeah, thank you. Hopefully see you soon.